Hello, hello. Welcome back to Chats and Chapters, where everything we do is for the stories. If you have been itching to start writing your book, but you just need a little bit more structure to get going without getting overwhelmed, today I am sharing a super simple 4-step process to outline your book. If you are still in the idea phase and you're wanting to flesh your ideas out, kind of see how you can make an entire story work, what you want to include, creating a story that you really would love to write every day, go back to the video that I uploaded last week where I break down 8 simple questions to ask yourself to create an entire story idea in under an hour. Okay, let's jump in to 4 steps to outline your novel fast. So this is perfect for pantsers or beginners who want direction, but not a rigid plan. I do think that pantsers are pantsers because they think that having any kind of outline, any kind of structure, they are like married to it and they can never deviate. And that is not the point. The point of an outline is to give you direction so that you're not sitting down at the blank page and you have no idea where to start. You have no idea what's happening with your characters. You're confused. Step 1 is going to be to brain dump your ideas. This kind of ties in to the video last week where I asked you the 8 questions to come up with your entire story idea. So this is about getting everything out of your head and onto the page. This is not a very strict Word document page. There is no judgment. There is no organization. You can grab a notebook. You can grab a Google Doc or even like voice note yourself on your phone. I love doing that on walks. Very helpful to the brain, and no one knows that I'm talking to myself. They think I'm cool and talking on the phone to someone, and I'm definitely not. For this step, set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes and jot down everything you can think of. Characters that pop into your mind, random scenes that you can picture writing about, the overall vibes, conflicts, moments that make you super excited, like I said, to sit down and write at your laptop or your notebook. Don't worry if it's messy. Don't worry if you are looking at it and you're like, how the heck darn am I going to make all these things fit into one story? Don't worry about it. The goal is to capture all of the chaos and clear out your mental space. So this is going to help spark inspiration and it prevents you from forgetting the golden ideas later. I actually just had a developmental call with one of my authors and she had started outlining, and then as she was writing, she kind of forgot along the way. So what I told her would be a good idea to do is to bust out her old notebook where she did a lot of her brain dumping. She did a lot of her ideation and make sure that everything that you really wanted to go in the story from the beginning made it into this draft. So the brain dumping is very important. You might not need this if you did watch last week's video and you went through that because this is very similar in the idea, but the goal of this is to free your brain, get everything out, have a reference so you can come back and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to add this in, or oh yeah, like I wanted that, but I don't anymore. I need to change the theme here, this, that, and the other. This is the fun moment, is brainstorming and anything and everything that you think could fit, that you would love to see, books that you like, everything like that. Throw all of those messy ideas onto a Google Doc, a notebook, even in a sketchbook. I always use sketchbooks. I don't know. I do love notebooks though. I like the freedom of a blank page, I guess, like having one big spread in a sketchbook to do all of that, I find really helpful. So for example, for brainstorming, if you're writing a fantasy romance, because a lot of people are, because they're delicious, you might write out that your character sees visions in a fog, that someone is protecting your main character from nightmares, but we don't know who, or we don't know how yet, of course, or there is like sacred pools that reveal fates. Any idea that comes to mind, anything that you can think of that you would like to explore and you would like to expand and see form into a book. Write it down during this brain dumping. Step 2 is going to be to identify your key moments. So look at your brain dump, look at your questions from last week if you went through those, and pull out 5 to 7 pivotal stops or story beats if you want to be technical. And these are going to be your big highlights that really drive your plot and your character change. This is going to be your inciting incident, like we talked about last week, that's going to kick off the adventure. You're going to have a midpoint with a twist probably that changes the stakes, the low point where everything seems lost. You're going to have the climax. Like, this is going to be 5 to 7 really pivotal moments that you want your characters to go through, that you want them to experience and change and grow and learn from within your story. And these are basically the backbone of your story. You can have all sorts of craziness in between these as long as it leads to these 5 to 7 pivotal moments, which will lead you to the end of your book. And it will ensure that your book has momentum, that it has the emotional arcs, that it has the pacing correct, that like it's not super duper slow here and ramps up here, or that the entire thing is not pedal to the metal. You want to have those mini arcs that go through your book to give the reader a little bit of a breathing room before you throw another curveball at us. It's appreciated. Step number 3, you're going to take those key moments and you're going to arrange them in loose order. Loose order, okay? This is not, it's concrete. They are stamped in the earth for all eternity. This is loose order. You group them kind of beginning, middle, and end. Obviously, you can't have the characters fall in love and get married if they haven't met yet. So there are going to be very obvious things that must come before other things. Loosely arrange those. For each one, you can take it a step further. You can add a brief note on what changes for your character after they experience such things. Like after the meet cute, they're going to be thinking about each other and wanting to hang out again, and it blossoms from there. So you can add a brief note on what changes for your characters afterwards. This is going to connect the dots and build the direction of your story map without making it to where you have to plot out every single chapter, everything like that. I do suggest the way sticky notes should sponsor me, because using sticky notes on a board, on a wall to arrange your beats so you can see how it's flowing. This is what I always suggest to authors when they're going through their developmental self-edits, is to really get like a bird's eye view, see how it all lays out and falls, and see if you like that, if that feels normal, if it feels natural to you, and go from there. So definitely sticky notes. Step 4 is going to be optional, I think. For some people, this might be a bit too far. For others, this might be exactly what you need. So step 4 is going to be to add basic details and go for it. So you can do a couple of sentences per chapter on kind of what you want to happen, or a specific location that you want your characters to be at by chapter 15, because you have this other thing that's going to happen at the midpoint and you need them to be at least halfway there within their journey, etc., etc. So you can do like quick notes on events, your point of view if you're switching between your female main character and your main male character, or any of your characters at all. Do you want them trading off every single chapter? How is that going to look? Like, some things will definitely need to be in a certain character's POV, while another situation could be through someone else's eyes. You also can do character reactions. What is going to happen if you have the love interests meet in chapter 5 or whatever, and then in chapter 6, like, how are they going to react? You don't need it step by step of like, they're going to make a cup of tea in the morning and they're going to be sad and they're going to check their phone 24/7 until they get a text. Like, this is 1 to 2 sentences of just a layout of how this book will come together. So the point is to have a flexible roadmap so you can discover the fun details, the juicy details while you're actually writing, but you want to have enough direction to not sit at your desk and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what my characters are going through right now. I'm not really sure what the next step is. I don't know. So this is where you can really hone in on some of those like smaller details. Once again, just a sentence or two per chapter, locations, events. Maybe the female main character has to go through a heartbreak or a friendship breakup. Maybe that's the inciting incident to really project them onto a path that you have gotten them on. So this is where you add a little bit more detail. Don't do anything crazy. You still have the option to discover the juicy details and the fun, tiny details and the dialogue and all of that as you're writing. And once you have this kind of laid out and you're happy with it, you think it'll work, you jump into your first draft. That is what happens. And as you're going through your first draft, like I've said, you can always move this outline around, cut some things, decide that it needs to change, decide that maybe one of the character traits that you had for your female main character isn't going to work with the new direction that you're wanting to take this. And so you pivot. But this process is incredibly simple. It gets you started. It has a very flexible approach. It's never black and white. There's always nuance. Take what is useful, leave what is not. If something in this outline doesn't fit, you can tweak it. Outlining like this gets you started faster, keeps the fun. I have talked to so many writers who take a long time to get to the point of writing because they don't know where to start. And if you start by small incremental steps, brainstorming, getting all of your ideas out, whether you use them or not, they are out of your brain and you can pick and choose what you want. You pick your key moments that you for sure need to happen to push the story forward. And then you get your rough sequence. You make sure that it's going to flow well. And then if you so choose, you can flesh out each moment, chapter with a sentence or two just to get a little bit more detail on the page so you have a very clear idea of where you're going. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it helpful. If you try this, please leave me a comment below with your book's genre and a key moment that you're really excited about. I would love it if you would like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more writing tips. Thank you so much for watching. If you missed last week's video where I took you through 8 questions to really get your complete story idea in less than an hour, go back and watch that, and I will see you next week.